I've been watching these seeds for a couple of days now, and I was terrified that none of them were viable. But once I started shaking the jar, a lot of the seeds fell away from the pulp and landed in the bottom of the jar. I could see that there was some mold buildup, and you can see it as I take off the paper towel. This will not affect the seeds, and I'm just going to take a spoon and scoop it out and put it into a little strainer I have here in the sink. I'm also going to remove any of the pulp or any seeds that are floating on top. These seeds are not going to be any good. They are not viable. I'm going to use a strainer and dump the seeds into it. I'm going to make sure that there's no big pieces of pulp left, and I'm going to go ahead and give them a good rinse. I originally put the seeds on a paper towel, but then changed my mind and decided to put them on wax paper. I heard that it's easier to get the seeds off the wax paper versus the paper towel. So once I get them all on the wax paper, nice and neat, I went ahead and put them up in the windowsill to dry. With those on the windowsill drying, I decided to take the last 3 cucumbers that I had put aside for seeds, and I'm going to go ahead and cut them open and get the seeds out of these cucumbers. I used a spoon and scraped the seeds and the pulp directly into the strainer. I went ahead and turned on the water and rinsed them off real good, and I pulled out any big pieces of pulp, and there was actually quite a bit of it. When I felt like they were good and rinsed and all the pulp was out of them, I went ahead and brushed them into this little jar. I went ahead and added water to this little jar, hoping that the smaller pieces of pulp would float to the top, and I was also able to see how many seeds were unviable. I went ahead and removed them also. When I was satisfied that all the debris was out of the seeds, I went ahead and poured them back into the strainer to remove as much of the moisture as possible. I went ahead and put the seeds onto a piece of wax paper, but in hindsight, I think I should have put them on a paper towel first to get off the excess moisture and then onto the wax paper to dry. There was a lot of moisture still in these seeds, but I'm just going to go ahead and put them up on the seal next to my other seeds, and we're just going to have to see how long it takes them to dry. But now it's time to admit to failure. I put these sunflower seeds out here for a couple of days, and when I came out to check on them, they were molded. All of them have mold on them. Thankfully, the smaller sunflowers are okay. I left them facing forward and they seem to be fine. But I did find one sunflower that I was able to get some seeds off of. The edges seem to be okay, so I'm going to harvest as many of these seeds as possible. My marigolds and my zinnias are nice and dry. I'm going to go ahead and store them temporarily in some plastic until I have as many flowers as I want to harvest seeds. And look at how many sunflowers I was able to salvage. I'm pretty happy, although that's just a fraction of the seeds that I wanted. In this video, I showed you two ways that I collected cucumber seeds. I used the fermenting process, and you can see that in the previous video. I'll link it up here in the top. And the second method was simply pulling them out of the cucumber and rinsing them off really well and setting them out to dry. In a future video, I'm going to plant both of the seeds and see what kind of propagation we get out of each of them. I was very disappointed in the loss of the sunflower seeds, but I was very happy that I was able to get at least a few. We'll be able to plant those next year and see how well they do. We still have sunflowers out in the field, so I'm very grateful to be able to harvest those, but this time I'm going to use a different drying method. I have a ton of flowers that I still need to harvest for seeds. For the zinnias, we've got a ton of different colors, and I think I'm just going to collect several different colors, put them all into one bag, and just do a mix of zinnias and see how well that does. So this is going to be it for this video. So you guys have a great day. Hope to see you back here soon.